While we're waiting on the final student athlete and the head coach, let me go through the housekeeping again, just in case any of you were not in here during NDSU's press conference. Of course, silence your cell phones, no flash photography, no live streaming on your devices. Live coverage is exclusive to the NCAA FCS social media platforms, so feel free and share those from the NCAA FCS football Facebook or Twitter. For electronic media, there is a mult box right outside the door here to take the feed, or you can download it from the NCAA FTP. See George from the Southland office or Thad from Hammond Communications for that FTP address and login. Now that we have everyone here, Eastern Washington, welcome back to Frisco again. I know you've heard it a lot this week, but hopefully it doesn't get old. Closest to me, head coach Aaron Best, and our student athletes closest to me is Spencer Blackburn, then Josh Lewis and Eric Barrier. Guys, welcome. We'll start with a opening statement from our head coach here, and then take questions for the student athletes. We'll let them leave before questions for Coach Best. Coach, go ahead.
Well, first off, I want to say thank you. Hospitality's been awesome. Obviously, there's two teams playing that get to earn the opportunity, not deserve the opportunity to play in this game. Very proud of the 103 people that we brought down to Frisco with us from January on. They've worked extremely hard to get to this point, one game at a time. We're going to approach this game no different. We've got a different cast of characters in Game 15 than we did in Game 1, but they all are symbolic of our message in terms of being the Eastern kind of guy, overachieving in all elements, whether it be in the classroom, on the field, in the weight room, and in their household. So extremely proud of this bunch, and we look forward to 3 hours of good football tomorrow against a great football team in North Dakota State.
All right, Coach, thank you. Questions for the student athletes? In the middle? Zach will bring you a microphone right there. Yep.
Ryan Collingwood, the Spokesman Review. Is this going to feel like it's a true road game? It's the FCS title game, but with considering all the green and gold, and I'm sure you've seen it around town, even like restaurants. It's kind of welcome Bison. I mean, obviously this is your time too, but are you kind of expecting kind of an away game atmosphere tomorrow?
Eric, why don't you start with that one?
Yeah, because we know they've been here, done that, so we know the Bison fans travel a lot, and we just got to go out there and play our game, because at the end of the day, it's going to be a away game in a way, but it's just a football game, so we just got to go out there and play.
Josh?
Yeah, kind of just going off what Eric said. We know the Bison travel well, which is, fine by us, but at the end of the day, it's 11 on 11 out there, so.
Spencer, does it feel like another road game to you?
Yeah, I would kind of agree with that. I mean, it's yes and no. I mean, they have to travel as well. They have to go through the same hoops as we have to go through to get here and play in a game that's not actually at your own stadium. And so I would say it's a home game atmosphere for them, but it's not necessarily a home game as well.
All right, thanks. Next question for the student athletes. Far side. Go ahead.
Nick Cousin from KVR in Fargo. Eric, what's made you so successful coming into this offense and already putting up the numbers that you have?
Just doing the little things, just watching extra film, just talking to my coaches, just trying to do what I can to get better in my game, because I thought early on I had some flaws, and I just trying to get better each and every day.
Alyssa Charleston, KXOY in Spokane. I guess to all the players, you guys missed out on the SCS playoffs last year. That was kind of your message leading into this whole year, getting back and leaving no doubt. But you're here now. Do you guys still carry that identity now that you're here, or are you carrying yourselves any differently?
Spencer, you can start.
Yeah, I would say we're definitely going with that same mantra. I mean, you got to finish this season. I mean, the season's not complete. Maybe there's only 2 teams left, but it's still open for grabs.
Josh?
Yeah, I think we still have that leave no doubt mentality. Just, again, going off what Spencer said, we done a lot of work to get here, but we're not done yet. And so we have a lot of unfinished business left to complete on Saturday.
Eric?
Yeah. The work is still not complete. We still going with that motto, leave no doubt, because we started that way in the off season, and we got to keep it going.
Brenna Green, Krem, you guys haven't been an underdog in a game for a really long time, but according to the spread, you guys are. What is that
We
like?
were an underdog in Pullman, weren't we?
Well, in an FCS game. Excuse me. In an FCS game. You guys haven't been an underdog in an FCS game in quite some time. What is that like for you guys coming in here knowing that?
Josh, why don't you start us?
I mean, I don't think it changes anyone's mindset. I mean, we love it. We know that we're the underdog coming in, but you know, between those four walls in the locker room, we have belief. We know what we're capable of, and when we're all on the same page, we're a tough team to stop. So, I mean, underdog or not, we're gonna give it our all and show everyone what we're about.
Spencer?
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. I mean, if you're in this situation, I mean, everybody's talented. I mean, even the top like 6, 8, and it doesn't really matter. Once you hit playoffs, everybody is a talented outfit. And so I would say, yeah, I would agree with Josh.
Eric?
Yeah, we just. I mean, the underdog role, like I don't really buy into that, because at the end of the day, you still got to go out there and play each other. And both teams, we're both great teams, so I think we'll settle it out on the field.
Far side?
Sam Adams over at SWX in Spokane. Guys, talking to North Dakota State yesterday, especially their head coach, they said that your style of play now is better suited to play against them, and also just at this level, talking about running and then keeping the defense off the field. That the defense has kind of had a domino effect from the offense. Would you agree with that statement that your brand of football is better than it was 2 years ago as far as how it is suited for the postseason and North Dakota State?
Spencer, why don't you start us off on that one?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 2016, I think I said it in a couple interviews ago that we really banked on outscoring everybody we played. It really didn't come into beating them in every single facet of the football game. And I mean, in this team that we have this year, I mean, we have a defense, we have an offense, and so we're just going to put up as many points as we can, but our defense will get stops, and we feel very comfortable in that. And then we have the ability to run the clock out, run the ball, and that has helped us a ton.
Eric?
Yeah, I think the physicality what this team brings is very helpful in years past, because we can also run the ball, throw the ball, great linemen that can pass block, also run block, and then we also got a great defense that can stop you in the run, also, and great DBs that can lock you down.
Josh, if you'd like to add something.
Yeah, I mean, I think this year we just have true belief in all facets in each other. I mean, offense believes in defense, defense believes in offense, and we all believe in special teams. And I think that's something that I'm not sure we've always had and had full confidence in. And I think definitely we definitely do this year.
Denise.
Denise Thompson, Big Sky Conference. Can you guys talk about how your quality of opponents that you guys played this year helped you to get to where you are today?
Start with the far end and Eric.
Oh, yes. Big Sky Conference is one of the best conferences in the nation. Like, just week in and week out, we're going to face a different opponent that's going to bring a lot to the table. For example, like Weber State, UC Davis, Southern Utah, just all them teams, Montana, just all them teams just give us a different feel each and every week, and they bring out the best of us.
Josh?
Yeah, I mean, Big Sky Conference is a great conference. You got teams that run different stuff. You know, 1 week we're going against UC Davis with passing attack. 1 week we're going against Cal Poly, who rushes 80 times a day or 80 times a game or whatever. But I mean, I think it's just a well-rounded conference, and I think all those games have kind of molded us into what we are today, and just got us get us ready for anything that we may face.
Spencer.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that. I mean, you don't get 3 teams in the first round bye if you have a conference that's not very talented. And I would say that, like Josh was saying, that has developed the team that we have today. I mean, we had some ups and we had some downs with Weber, and I think that made us more of a complete team. I think it kind of opened a lot of our eyes, and I think that made us a much more well-rounded outfit, and it's helped us a lot.
More questions for the student athletes right here.
Spencer, what does DM GB stand for?
Doesn't matter. Get better.
A couple more for the student athletes. If anyone else has questions, they're on the far side.
Eric Brunel, been out of Fargo. Eric, how much has Gage taught you, and how much have you been able to learn through him throughout the season?
You taught me a lot, just even before the season, just fall camp, spring ball, just watching film, just trying to pick up what he left off, and just trying to give me tips defensive wise, just like little things like where they can shade at safety off the hash or something like that. Just so he's helped my game and improved me a lot.
Isaac Dienison, Bison Information Network News Fargo. This is a question for Eric. North Dakota State's no stranger to quarterbacks like you. What's your preparation been like this week preparing for their defense?
Same preparation. They got a great defense, but I also know that we got a great offense too. So I don't got to do nothing any spectacular. I just got to go out there and play my game.
One more for the student athletes.
Eric, when you started this season, you were behind a preseason Player of the Year candidate, and now you're one game away from helping lead this team to a national title. What has this journey been like for you?
It's been wild, I'll say. Just kind of, it's had some bumps along the way, but I still thought that I'd grown a lot. Just being with the team, just embracing the role, because I'm not like a talkative guy, and just being in this role just made me be more vocal and be more of a leader, and I think it's paying off.
All right, man, thank you very much. You guys are dismissed. Good luck tomorrow. All right, now time for questions with head coach Aaron Best. Here on the near side.
Alyssa Charleston, KXLY4. Coach, you talked about last week how this is no single player on your team has been to a national championship, played a national championship. How do you see and gauge them react to coming here and going through walkthrough and all the processes that go along with being here?
You know, most men look at that as a disadvantage. Sometimes not having your foot in the water is an advantage. You know, when you go to the lake and everybody wants you to jump in, and the person that kind of feels gets scared of the water, and then there's always some person in that party that just jumps in, and it's kind of refreshing because then it's okay to just go do it. The DNA hasn't changed, won't change. We'll be loose. We're not going to change our stripes. At this point, we are who we are, facing a team that's been here before. So one would look at it as an advantage for them, and I don't necessarily agree with that, but it's depending on who you talk to. I don't think there's a disadvantage for us not having been here before. Four guys have been on staff and or watched the game in 2010 from the stands. Does that play out? I don't know. Everybody wants to know about the 2017 game in Cheney against North Dakota State. That has no bearing on the next 3 hours from 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock. That is the same mascots, different years that we played. It has no bearing. Playing Davis in the regular season versus Davis in the playoffs, things change. And so I don't think there's any correlation to that whatsoever. That's the way we're approaching this one.
Far side.
Coach Sam Adams, SWX. Ask the players, I'd like to ask you, do you feel just point blank your style of play is better suited now than it was a couple years ago? That you guys have a style of play that plays well in the playoffs, and especially against a team like North Dakota State?
Well, Sam, this is what I know. It's easy to indicate that now we've reached a national championship game with to me, it's not a different style. It's just more of an importance and a more of a dedication to the run game. It's been known for quite some time that we've been successful in the playoffs, just haven't got over that semifinal hump since 2010. And so it's easy for someone to sit back and go, they're balanced, that's why they're in this situation. There's many more variables than that. We wanted to be more balanced, but it doesn't mean 50% called passes versus 50% called runs. We have RPOs that could dictate one or the other. So some of that is skewed based on the defense we get, based on the personnel we see. But what I do know, some of our best players on offense are running backs. Some of our most experienced players on offense are our offensive linemen. And so we're more about yards per carry more than how many times we carry the football. And I think we've done a good job through 14 games with a huge challenge in front of us tomorrow. But do I certainly think it helps? Yes. Do I think there was needed to be a belief? Yes. Did it take more than just this season? Absolutely. And the challenge going forward, regardless of the outcome tomorrow, is implementing that again in that belief system with the 2019 team when we get there.
Nick Cousin, KVR on Fargo. What's made Eric so successful stepping into the role he has? You know, he's already up in the top in the FCS in a lot of different offensive categories.
Well, I think it goes along with Alyssa's question about you may look at that as a disadvantage after Gage got hurt. We look at that as an opportunity. His skill set is second to none at that position. Doesn't matter whether you like his style of play or not. He's got a long way to go. He's far from refined. But some of that is fun to watch. Not all of it. We've had some turn your eye moments over the last 9 games, but those are learning experiences. To be successful, you got to fail, and if you've never failed, you don't know what success is. And so, Gage has been a great learning tool for him. He, like I said, is as talented, if not more talented, than any of the quarterbacks from a physical standpoint that we've had at Eastern Washington. That says a ton. And that's a lot of respect to a lot of the quarterbacks that came before him. Now it's just matching that physical talent with more experience, better decision making, and leaning on his teammates when he needs to lean on them. So he'll continue to do that over the next 2 years. But we like the dynamic aspect he brings to the table, and some of the less coaching gets more out of Eric in this situation. And then we'll work in the offseason as far as how to fine-tune some of that stuff in between his ears.
Brenna Green, Crim 2, your guys' mantra all year has been leave no doubt. What is your version of leaving no doubt in this game tomorrow?
Score more. I mean, 2 words, score more. There's probably going to be a play in the game. May not be the only play in the game that changes momentum in the game. That's the way football goes. That's the way life goes sometimes. And there'll be a time in the game, whether it's early, midway through, or late, for one of the ball clubs, whether it be a special teams, offense or defensive play, and we've got to continue to believe what we've believed in thus far. It started Thanksgiving weekend of last year, really 2017, when we didn't get an opportunity to showcase our talents in the playoffs. And so it didn't just start in August. It started well before that, prior to this season. And so they've taken a great approach. We're not okay to be here. And that to be known, no matter who the opponent is, as good as North Dakota State's been over the last decade, we're not just okay to be here. This is not a business trip. This is not a vacation. This is a game against North Dakota State, the #1 team in the nation, and we're not okay to be here. We will give them their best shot. They will give us our best shot. And again, this is the 4th champion we'll play in the playoffs. So I don't know about any other teams, but this is the 4th conference champion we'll play. And you have to beat the best to be the best. And that's the way we want it in sports. That's why sports are so special.
Hi, Eric Peterson, Forum Newspaper in Fargo. Any new update on the availability of JT? And when he's in your lineup, what difference does he make for your defense?
Well, first off, any defensive tackle in the country that's a defensive player of the year, I mean, that's A, hard to do, B, hard to recognize, because I think over the season, I think he had 34 tackles, 4.5 sacks. He's a menace to any offense, #1. I applaud the Big Sky coaches for recognizing that, even though his stats may not be as great as Dante Olson from Montana, who I believe is in town as one of the 3 potential recipients of the Buck Buchanan Award. We won't know the status of JT until this evening, later on this evening, so I will get wind of that probably early tomorrow. I may set my alarm very early to get that information before everybody else. I'm eagerly awaiting the news. I'm not pushing this back for any particular reason. Those that know me, and some people are from the Spokane area, I'm about as transparent as they come, whether it's our 4-year-old or 5-year-old at home, Texas, or whether it's JT Tiuli. So I'm hiding nothing, and so when I get that information, I'll disperse that information to whom we need to disperse that to.
Make me wish I covered you back in my journalism days. I like transparent coaches.
Yeah, players don't always like it, though. I'll tell you that.
All right, more questions for Coach Best. Unless we've exhausted them. One more on the near side. There you go.
Melissa Charleston, KXLY4 coach. Your second year as head coach, you've been with Eastern for a long time, and assistant coach and playing, but you're now in the national championship in your second year. Have you had any time to reflect on that, and or does this also just kind of become your new standard?
Well, I think the standard was laid well before my time as head football coach. I had the opportunity to play in a semifinal game in 1997. Believe it or not, every kid that we recruit nowadays is born in the 2000s, which is incredible to me. So we've experienced it as a player and then as a coach many a time, assistant coach under Paul Wolf and Bo Baldwin. So they set the standard. It's our job to continue the standard and push the standard. So yes, I'd love to be the standard, be the standard every year, but to get to this step, you've got to get a chance to get in that 2014 bracket. And to do that in the Big Sky Conference, you have to solidify yourself as a conference champion. And so we were not the recipient of the auto bid this year, but we did enough work to get ourselves a chance in the dance. And so it is the standard. It will continue to be the standard. But the one thing that I do challenge, and I think it's the hardest thing to stay on top. Coach Kleiman and company, Coach Bowl and company, I mean, that is impressive run they have. There's no two ways about it. To stay on top at the level that they've been at and they continue to be at, to me, that's the hardest. It's harder to stay on top when you are the top dog than it is to get to the top once when you haven't been the top dog. You can catch lightning in a bottle, but when you do what they've done over the course of time, that's not lightning in a bottle. That's real foundation, and it's worked through two head coaches up to this point. And I imagine Coach Ansel will probably employ his own fingerprints on it, but the DNA is probably not going to change. And so, yes, the standard will always stay Big Sky champions, but if we don't get that ticket, then we certainly want to have a chance in the 24 to give ourselves a chance to play in January.
Right. A couple more.
Hi, Coach Sam Adams from SWX. No doubt you've kind of noticed the amount of Bison fans around in the community and also the signage that's up. Is there any part of you that's kind of embracing this kind of crash the party mentality that this is, hey, look, you need to remind people that Eastern Washington is here too?
Oh, they know. People know we're here. We've been around a long time. We just haven't had the success that they've had on the national stage in terms of hoisting national championships. By no means, someone's got to win. That's what I do know. So someone's paid to determine who the underdog is and who the non-underdog is. So what our job and our duty is to put the best product on the field from 11 o'clock in the morning tomorrow until 2 p.m. And so I don't get asked that question when we go to Montlake or Pullman or Lubbock or anywhere else where you're the underdog. How are you going to approach this? We're going to approach this with a game plan based on what we see, employ that game plan, and if the game plan doesn't go as planned, we have adjustments just like the other team across from us. So no, we're not going to use this as a motivator. Bison fans are highly respected, travel really well, are loud, and are proud. That's why fan is what it is. It's short for fanatic, and they are fanatical. We played in Fargo 2 years ago, and it was awesome to be a part of. It was an awesome venue to be a part of. That's a lot of their success is due to the fan base, because when you can't hear yourself in their stadium, that bodes well, much like Missoula. It is a 12th, and I would maybe argue a 13th man, if you will. But here they might have 11 and a half, get to 12. But we're just excited for the opportunity, regardless of the quote-unquote underdog role.
We had here in the middle first. Yeah. Behind you. There you go.
Hey, Coach. A few guys were kind of on the fence about suiting up tomorrow. Guys like Zach Eagle, guys like Cole, Punty. Will we be seeing those guys in helmet and pads tomorrow?
Zach Eagle will not suit. Tyson Prunty will suit. Cole Carstetter will suit.
Last one on the far side.
All week the talk in Fargo's been about the explosive plays you guys have. Is that the same mentality for you guys with them stopping explosive plays that they're going to bring out?
Well, I tell you two things that stick out amongst many others, but the two off the top of my head are the Bison defense tackles well. You can tell that's a defensive coaching as a head football coach. They tackle well. The one thing we must do is tackle well. you've got to find a way to bring people to the ground. So dynamic plays a lot of times aren't people wide open. It's not necessarily out scheming somebody, because when you get to this stage, you might get a play, but you're not going to out scheme someone 6 or 8 or 10 times. You're probably not in this position. It's about players making individual plays based on the play call that's made by the coordinator. And so we've got to have some individual players, not do anything different that they've done, but try to break a tackle, try to extend the football, and try to stay on blocks a bit longer. And last time I checked, and it was my mantra as an O-line coach, if your guy doesn't make the play, we got a chance to score. So as funny as that sounds, it goes back to blocking, it goes back to tackling, it goes back to catching, okay, all the same things. It's just on a higher level, on a bit bigger stage from a national standpoint.
All right, Coach. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time. Good luck tomorrow.
Appreciate it.